In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 47 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Boulder in Colorado talking with Bryan Conklin. Bryan is the CEO and president of Simuwatt. Simuwatt produces the Buildee SaaS-based energy efficiency software platform used to easily analyze, benchmark, and prioritize energy saving and decarbonization opportunities more quickly, less expensively, and with better results for commercial, multifamily, and light industrial portfolio owners. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy.
Bryan, welcome to the Swell Pod, the Kiln Road Trip. Thanks for being one of the 100 interviews we're doing.
I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
That's great. So we'd like to first just ask you to introduce yourself, your name, what you do now, and what you're passionate about, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Bryan Conklin. I'm the CEO and president for a company called Simuwatt, and we produce a software platform called Buildee, focused on decreasing decarbonization, or I guess capturing energy savings and decarbonization in the built environment.
That's great. And what's your background before then? And
oh my gosh,
from childhood to now.
I am a recovering management consultant from years. I worked on this thing early called the internet. That was kind of an opportunity and a threat to companies.
Yeah.
I just dated myself tremendously. And it's sort of technology's been a thread throughout my career. But about 18 years ago, I made a switch into clean tech, where I've worked on the renewable side, the energy storage side, financing of clean tech, and now working on the energy efficiency side.
And what got you into clean tech then, right? What was it?
The funny thing is I grew up in a little beach town in southern New Jersey. I've always been into the sustainability. In fact, I did my earliest high school science projects on passive solar energy. And it's a bit of a mission, and I see the opportunity to go ahead and say that, business and sustainability can be linked very closely together.
Interesting.
Can you say the name of your platform again that you're building?
Buildee.
Buildee.
Yeah, build EE, as in build energy efficiency.
Oh, nice. I like that. I like that a lot. And can you run me through like a use case of kind of how that works for your target customer, let's say?
Yeah, it varies on the customer because we serve utilities, we serve municipalities, we serve the energy trades that support the identification of these opportunities, and we help property owners as well. So in each of those respective cases, it varies a little bit.
Okay.
The software is versatile that it can serve all those different markets.
Yeah.
But, just for instance, in utilities, we are able to help in the deployment of their energy efficiency programs with their largest commercial customers. So they will we'll be able to help capture and support data capture without any hardware or sensors. And then be able to identify those highest impact opportunities within their built environment.
Interesting. And as it relates to like the origins of the company, were you part of the founding group or did you come in after?
I actually came in afterwards. The company was founded back in 2017.
Okay.
And I came on board about 18 months ago for sort of our new stage of growth. Okay. And we've been on a tear.
Yeah.
I mean, we've probably grown in the past 12 months about 200%.
Nice.
So
incredible.
We're on a great path. I feel like there is a tsunami forming in both the need in the marketplace for this across so many different areas, whether it be regulatory, whether it be the needs of building owners to try to avoid compliance fines, and we're there to support it.
That's amazing. And as far as the creation of the company, maybe can you speak a little bit to that? Like, what was the origin of this? What was
It was actually we're somewhat born out of NREL, which National Renewable Energy Lab, which is headquartered here in Colorado. And the team had been working at developing some audit capabilities of buildings. And so it all originated there. And we've since blown that up. I mean, the platform's much more robust. We've actually replaced everything we built.
Wow.
And made it so it's, we're all about trying to streamline energy efficiency and move toward deployment.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's amazing. Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
so good.
No, I think I'm just, as it relates to, so you came in for this next stage of growth. You've had incredible growth already. I'm wondering, just in relationship to maybe some of the bigger challenges that you're facing right now as you're trying to kind of reach that rocket ship and momentum out of Earth, I guess.
Well, with growth, you got to keep feeding the growth.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most challenging parts is probably the capital markets today and the VC markets. I mean, we're in a capital raise right now. We're looking to fund from either climate tech VCs or prop tech VCs. And certainly those in the property space are still in a post-COVID recovery, I think, right? I mean, office buildings still haven't come back to where they were. And,
100%.
And I think a lot of, and I think there's also maybe a perception in the market that this is a crowded space in energy management. And I think that's actually a misnomer. I mean, like, we look at it, we don't have many, I don't feel like we have many competitors that do what we can do.
Yeah.
There are folks that do ESG and out there, and there are other guys at the other end of the spectrum that are doing building optimization and controlling devices or finding fault detection. We don't do either of those. We like to work in an ecosystem with those two different folks, and link to them to identify the big capital projects that are going to move the needle on energy savings and decarbonization.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, just to reiterate, you've already kind of covered this, but without you, what's the pain point that these different let's say a typical client, or just choose one of those that you mentioned, would experience without you?
I think the big thing is often, folks are facing let's say it's a building owner and they're facing compliance fines or potential of that, there's regulations, environment. They're focused on real estate. They don't know about clean tech or, energy efficiency. They're not, I like to say everyone knows a doctor, but few people know an energy manager. And that's what we've built into a software platform.
Right.
So we're helping them in identifying these opportunities. They don't know what to do. So we've simplified this a little bit so that they can either utilize some of their own staff or the existing data that they may have to identify these and have confidence in sort of the path forward for that decarbonization and capturing that like hidden energy savings in their building.
So talk me through, I know we've covered a user case, just talk me through the experience then from someone meeting you for the first time, adopting the software, the platform, like just what's that experience from the journey from start to not finish, but to using it?
Yeah. Well, if they're interested in trying to follow that path and identify these opportunities, we always try to capture data electronically wherever possible. And so if they have it in existing systems, and we have a number of integrations with other platforms to help speed that whole data collection process. In other cases, it might be where it's all in a spreadsheet, and we have rapid spreadsheet import capabilities that help and support that too. But the truth is like the vast majority of buildings are not smart per se. No. There's very few that have smart technologies. And so we recognize that. We recognize those limitations. And we've built out some really unique capabilities that allow for both virtual and on-site data capture that are a bit of our secret sauce. And really don't require they require very little or minor time from either current staff or contractors. We don't charge on a user basis. We actually charge on a building basis because we look at like the execution here requires this coordination of all these different participants. So we help streamline that aspect too.
You're trying to get to so you focus on the outcome. Let's just sort this
exactly
of the building. And okay, good. What are the customers saying about your product?
Well, we're always trying to find more, and we want them to say great things. But
Yeah.
I think we've had tremendous success within the utility space first, because they were the first ones to have to move forward on energy efficiency and decarbonization. And they seem to be quite excited about being able to support commercial customers, residential customers, small commercial. Each one of those is a different use case, and how you go to market with them varies. Some require more virtual data capture and others don't. So it seems that the customers are very excited about that. I mean, I think it speaks to the fact that we've had 200% growth in the past 12 months. Speaks a lot to what customers are saying. And we're pretty in tune with constantly going ahead and asking them, hey, how satisfied are you? And would you recommend us to someone else? It's pretty important for us.
That's great. Well, I know we're going to talk about Kiln and a few other things.
I've got a question. Yeah, for sure. So the 18 months that you've been with the company, what are some of the things that you've learned that maybe you weren't expecting? It can be about the space, or it can be about the company. It can be about the work. Like anything.
I bet every entrepreneur would probably say this, but always assume that it's going to take you twice as long to find the capital you need. Thankfully, we have an amazingly supportive group of investors, and they continue to be there for us. But we recognize that with that tsunami of demand I talked about, we need to hit the throttles here, right? And folks are really running out of time as well. And whether they're going to hit the compliance fines, or whether it's a matter of what parts per million we have to hit on decarbonization. And capital helps make that go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And so can you help me understand the role that Kiln plays for you and your work?
Oh, they've been great. I mean, we came to Kiln through the Dynamo Energy Hub, which is a clean tech network that has sort of hubs in different cities. It really pulls together all these different folks across entrepreneurs, financiers, hardware, et cetera. It's really great. And they hold a number of sessions here. So it's allowed us to network within our own community. It certainly has helped us utilize resources more effectively, because we use this virtually very often for social events and things like that. It's also helped us in terms of just as a team being cohesive. We do strategy sessions at Kiln. And afterwards, go hit one of the local breweries in Boulder. So I like to say that it's a bit of a hub for our company, and allows us to operate much more resource efficiently.
Very cool. Any recommendations on places to go, once we finish for the day?
Let's see. Well, here's my because I'm 2 hours from here, actually. I actually live in the mountains.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to highly recommend that you guys make a trip up that way.
Okay. All right.
Really?
The snow's started to fall. They've opened up at several other resorts.
We just drove past Vail and Breckenridge last night coming in, and I was like, good thing we came at there's so much snow already. It was interesting.
Yep, it's great. It's we like to say in Colorado, we work hard and we play harder.
Yes, love that. I like that. I'm kind of jealous of that. So we're in Utah, right? That's kind of where we're based out of. And kind of a similar lifestyle, I feel like, always getting up into the mountains. We ski, snowboard,
Park City, Sundance.
Let's go shred some gnar.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I'm down anytime. So do you ski?
I'm a boarder, actually.
Okay.
I went over to the dark side about 20 years ago.
That's a interesting time to make that move. So you saw it and you were just like, look at these guys. I like how
Well, I started out skiing and I actually ended up moving to the mountains because I joined an internet consultancy that had an office there. Where the internet was everywhere. And I had brand new skis and boots, and my entire office was snowboarding.
Okay.
And so I was like, I got to try this out. Having grown up surfing and things like that, and it fit.
That's amazing.
I've gone to the dark side.
I'm proud of you. That's awesome. I'm with you. No, for sure. I think if we ever make it back out to Colorado, or we have a little bit of time, or you make it out to Utah, let's hit this.
I love it.
Well, one of our first guests, was it our first guest?
It was our first guest. He's
created a company called Backcountry Swell. And he's built some
recycled
amazing
plastics, backcountry, instead of a split board, he's got the backcountry, what are they called?
With the
Okay, the skin's on the bottom, but he's also made recycled plastic skateboards,
There's one over there.
snowboards, snow surfs.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. But anyway,
So wrapping it up,
one last question.
One last question.
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Camper Vans, a luxury camper van rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra camper vans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
And enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
I think for our audience who are different stages of building companies, it could be large, could be small, but what advice would you give them around, based on your experience, what does it take to create a movement? Let's say take an idea from something that didn't exist before.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think what I would invest in and be looking at is expanding emotional intelligence amongst your leadership and amongst your team. It dramatically impacts what they think, what they feel, the actions they take, and it creates amazing outcomes. And I think having that mindset first allows you to then be able to take the other things of, hey, what are the next 3 steps I need to take? And from that, take the first step of those 3 steps and then rinse and repeat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And any tips about how to do that though?
Well, I will say that it requires training. So most folks will go and do cardio training and weight training, right? They train their body, but very few people train their mind. I would say less than 5%. It requires sort of some development of skill set of acknowledging what you're experiencing at any point in time, and then being able to realign yourself in direction of what you're trying to create. There are a lot of different curriculums out there that can help and support that, and I encourage folks to look at them. Two of the most impactful I think I've experienced have been Landmark Forum and as well Intermatrix Systems. Those two are really powerful in terms of just sort of developing that skill set of daily training. It'll change your world.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in two ways. One, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.